Hello, I'm Tom Taylor with CISC, and I will be demonstrating a first drive lesson. Typically there will be a student in this seat and I'll be in the passenger seat, but for the purpose of this demo I'll be sitting here. Alright, so whenever we begin our lesson, the first thing we set is our seat. There are 3 adjustments we're going to make on the seat. The first and most important is between the legs there's a bar that you pull up, slide forward or backward. Then you're going to press the brake. The brake is on the left, and now I want you to set your hands on the wheel and squeeze the brake at the same time. And how you'll know if you're good is if you can reach both the brake and the accelerator, and you can reach any of the controls. So once you have the seat correct as far as the position, the next thing, there are 2 more adjustments you can make, and these are kind of preferences. By your left hip there's a bar. If you pump up, you will make the seat higher. If you push down, you'll make the seat lower. And the last adjustment by the back, almost by the back seat, will adjust the tilt of your back. I don't want you to feel like you're cramped forward, but I also don't want you to be reclined. I'd like you to just be at a comfortable position. So once you have all 3 adjustments, again, squeeze the brake, hold the wheel, reach for a control, and if you can reach everything, then you're in good shape. Okay, once you have the seat situated, the next thing we want to do is adjust the rear view mirror. When you are adjusting the rear view mirror, we do not want to tilt it to the left or to the right, but you'll grab the outside and you'll twist it so you can look right out the back window. Remember, you want to be able to see the maximum amount straight behind you. This little knob is for if you're ever driving at night and somebody puts the bright light on, you can pull that down and it'll take the bright out of your eyes. Now, of course, we're always going to have our seat belt on. We're going to place it across our lap and across the middle of our chest. Alright, when you're starting the car, your foot is on the brake. You're going to push the start button. And now there's 2 steering techniques we're going to talk about today, and they're different. Right turns and left turns. A right turn is a 90-degree turn, so when we come up to a stop sign, we stop parallel to the sign. We pre-turn about 1/4 of the way on the wheel. The reason for the pre-turn is if you don't do the pre-turn, your turn will be too wide and you'll go into the incorrect lane. Now, a left is a little bit different. You're going to turn the wheel less, but you're also going to use the hand-over-hand technique, especially if we're making a tight turn, for example, a cul-de-sac. So hand over hand, if you'll watch my hands, we'll go all the way around, and then we'll let the wheel slip back underneath our finger. So again, one more time. Right turn is a pre-turn, left, hand over hand. Alright, next let's do a dash overview. The first thing I want you to do is show me a right signal and a left signal. Right is up, left is down. Then I want you to slightly push up. That's a short signal. It'll last for about 3 seconds. That's for changing lanes and also for pulling away from curbs. Take the outer knob. Right now it's in the off position. 1 twist forward is parking lights. Some people use parking lights if they're going to stop just for a moment, like say at the bank or the grocery store for a quick stop. 1 twist forward is lights on. And then I want you to push the whole column forward towards the dash. If you see the blue light on the dashboard, that is your bright lights. I live in an area that has a lot of deer, so if I'm driving at night and there's nobody on the road, I'm going to have my bright lights on. However, if a car comes, you have to dim those. So you pull it back towards you, and now the bright's off. But now I'd like you to pull back on that control 3 or 4 times consecutively and let go like this. As you can see, the bright lights are flashing on and off. That is a signal that you can go. So let's say you're leaving school one evening and it's a busy day. You can flash, and if someone flashes their brights at you, they're saying you can go ahead. One more twist back is auto. Auto is where we typically leave it because, like the name sounds, it's automatic. So if a storm blows through and it gets real dark, it'll automatically turn back on. All right. Now let's go across and let's pull down this lever on the right. That's when it's raining the most. That's a pouring kind of rain. Up a little is a steady rain. One more notch up is an intermittent wipe. So right now we have it on a low setting. It will only wipe about every 10 seconds. However, there's a control right here. One click up, and now we've got it wiping about every 5 seconds. And you can control the interval. So if you want a faster wipe or a slower wipe, you turn it up or down. Let's push the whole control up once. That would be, for example, let's say you ran across a puddle. That will give you one wipe. Pull it towards you for 1 second and then let go. That'll wash the windshields. All right. We're always going to use our right foot to drive, both on the accelerator and the brake, with one exception. There's a small brake pedal here on the left. We'll push it all the way down. That is your emergency brake or parking brake. The parking brake will be used in 3 instances. Well, we call it an emergency brake because if your brake failed, you would press that. But 99.9% of the time, it's for, you know how sometimes you have steep driveways, or if you're parked on a hill. To release the parking brake, you squeeze it and then let go, and now the brake is off. All right, looking across the dashboard on the left, there's a tachometer. When we begin to accelerate from a dead stop onto roads, we want that tachometer to be somewhere between 2 and 3, especially when we're going on our interstate or our state highway drive. Obviously on the right, we have the speedometer, and we're going to check that about every 10 seconds to see if it's within, let's say, 1 or 2 miles of the typical speed limit. All right, I want you to we'll push this button. This is our emergency flasher, sometimes called hazards. And a good example of when you might use that is if your brake fails, if you're having some kind of car trouble, if you had a flat tire or something, you're pulled over on the road, your flashers are on, you're telling people, stay away, I'm stopped here. All right, let's look at the controls. The fan here, right now it's on 0, you can turn it up. We're going to push the front and then the back defrost. We don't typically use those in the summer, however, it can be used to defrost the windshield if a storm blows through and it gets hot again. All right. So front and back. The air conditioning is on now, and the control whether it's blowing cold or hot air. All right, let's talk about the gears. This is park, of course. Reverse. 3 things about reverse. Number 1, when you're in reverse, your foot is always on the brake for 3 reasons. Number 1, if your foot's on the brake and you're backing up, somebody comes behind you, you can stop immediately. If your foot is on the brake, you won't accidentally hit the gas. And lastly, when your foot's on the brake and you're backing up, you're going to look where you're going. So back and right, back and left, and later we'll go straight back. You'll put your left hand on top of the wheel and you'll turn and look behind you. Neutral is a gear you can use to start a car or to push a car. So if you're driving down the road and your car stalls, you can just pop it into neutral and try to start it up again. If that also can be used to push a car. So if your car dies and you need to push it off the road, you want to be in neutral. The low gear, if you're coming up to a stoplight on an icy or snowy day, you could use the low gear that will slow the car down without having to hit the brakes hard. Now I'd like to demonstrate the blind spot for you. All right, let's talk about the mirror adjustment now. We're going to be adjusting the left mirror, and how we're going to do that is we're going to push the arrow here on the left and also make sure the slider is pointing to the left. We're going to push it out farther than you normally would, so you're going to be pushing it all the way to the left, and then you're going to slowly bring the mirror back until you can just see the edge of the car. You want to see just a little bit of the car, and once you can, then you'll have that mirror adjusted. Okay? All right, let's demonstrate the blind spot. What I'd like you to do is put your left hand up when you cannot see me. All right, very good. Okay, so now you have your blind spot. Your blind spot is right here. This is where you'll be looking anytime you make a lane change, and I'm going to demonstrate how we do that. All right, so when we make a lane change, we're going to signal, glance, and go, or signal, glance, and go. What we're not going to do is we're not going to move our shoulders, because if you move your shoulders, you're moving the wheel. We're also going to make that a fluid lane change, because if you slow down on your lane change, you're going to have a car right behind you. So one more time, it's signal, glance, and go, or signal, glance, and go. All right, so now that we have the car set up, it'll be your turn to drive. And the important thing about drive one is that you learned how to set the car up, and now you're going to show me how you're going to accelerate, brake, and handle the car. We're going to start in the parking lot. Maybe we'll get into the neighborhoods, but I'm sure you'll do a great job. Okay, this concludes today's video. The purpose of this video is just to be sure that your student gets off to a good start with lesson number 1.